Barney, how's the turkey coming along?
Shut up! It's cooking!
Okay, hello everybody. I just got back from beachcombing. I was down there for an hour to try and find some wood for this Dremel Foredom series that I'm working on. And this video is going to be what type of wood I like to carve. Well, free wood is the number one answer. So, I just thought I'd try and describe the wood grain the best I can describe it. I'm not the best at describing this stuff, but I'll do my very best. And this is for the very, very beginner Dremel carver or wood carver. So, you see this right here. Okay, so here's this stick, right? A branch or a little log. So that's looking, this is all spalted, so don't pay attention to those black lines. But this basically is looking down on the log like we're doing right here, okay? Log. So this would be called end grain, all right? So this is the least grain I suggest you try to carve because it's always the hardest trying to carve well. It's the end grain, so you're carving into the grain. So another thing too, like first growth, second growth, how well, like these rings tell you how old the tree is. So each ring you got there, each ring is a grain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this tree would be 8 years old, all right? So for myself, this is just for Dremel carving. This has nothing to do with chainsaw carving. I like carving, well, it even does have to do with chainsaw carving too. So the tighter the rings are, doesn't mean it's first growth, which means like it wasn't planted by man and it was just naturally grown in some old forest. I like carving the wood that has the tighter rings inside there, unless it's a super hard wood, because that way the wood seems like it just takes better detail. Long story short, okay? So the tighter rings that you can find in the wood means it's an older tree, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's first growth or second growth, how big, because all trees grow, like redwoods, some of the grains are like this wide. That tree grows like that much all the way around the tree each year. So it would be like this. Okay, so I want to explain, so there's end grain, okay? So when you cut the branch, boom, here's the branch, and you're looking down. So I don't suggest carve this way on this side for the very beginners. So let's see here, how do I got this? So pretend I get my saw and I cut, or an axe. Okay, I put a line down here and I split this in half, right? So now this is half. This isn't the same piece, but it is the same piece. So here's the half. So my favorite grain to carve is the face grain. So you can see here, it's the face of the branch, right? So the face grain, this is just a quick example. If you go to a hardware store and you're looking to buy a 2x4 or something just to try it out, whatever. So this would be face grain because it's layers. You'll see shadowing effects and you'll see how it just kind of does that. Can you guys see on the camera? Let me see. Okay, so there would be, left would be face grain. This would be edge grain. I don't like carving edge grain in anything I really do, besides if it's basswood or something, because you just get those lines down that you're carving if you put a stain on it. And I just don't think, yeah, sure, it's a wood carving, it says what it is, but I think if you carve face grain, you're carving into the layers, and you're letting the beautiful grain expose itself. You're not just carving the side of the layer. So the edge grain would basically just be carving straight lines up and down the side grain, right? So for example, when you cut this branch in half, you're going to get, this is going to be your core, okay? And I'm making this video because when I go beachcombing, I get excited and I talk really fast. I know I'm even doing it right now. So you can even carve this core out here, the center of the tree, so your wood won't crack as much. Once that core is out, your wood this has less chance of cracking up here because it releases pressure, long story short. But this right here, you see this? These rings will go like this. Okay. It's half the tree. So you think these things will come down here and they'll all be straight, okay? So this would almost be carving edge grain, okay? Because you just got the straight lines down of the grain. But don't get me wrong, it does fold over and they do get rounder the deeper that you carve into this piece. But if you get a branch like this, carving the outside of the branch into the grain, that's carving face grain. And you'll get, so each, like, the grain goes here, it goes here, and it goes here. So this is layers. So 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layers, 4 layers. When you carve the face grain here, wood spirit or whatever, you're carving through the layers. Carving through this layer, then carving through that layer. And that's how you get the nice exposure of the grain and not just straight lines with the edge grain. So, and for shosugi ban, like where you burn the wood deep, that technique that I've used, just use the face grain. Don't use the edge grain. If you don't want to, it's just my opinion. Because for the shosugi ban, all you're going to get is straight up and down lines. So I suggest for the very beginning carver, do not carve into the end grain. You can, excuse me, you can carve it so the hair goes up around here, whatever you do. But don't just try and carve a wood spirit on here. It's just the toughest carving to do. Try and carve yourself some face grain. Okay, let's go beachcombing. Sorry everybody, it's a repeat. So once again, when you go to the hardware store, look for wood more like this where you see some shadows in between each grain, because that's going to give you the face grain. And if you see a board with just straight up and down lines like this, this is edge grain. This is much preferred wood for me to carve, and it looks a lot more beautiful when you're done your wood carving than seeing just straight up and down lines. Hi everybody, it's another winter day here in British Columbia, Canada. It's getting close to the end of the day. I got about an hour left, but I'm at the beach. I get asked a lot of times what type of wood I use to carve. So in this video, I'm going to try and find the perfect piece of wood for me to carve. For the final piece of wood to carve for this series, I'll use all the tools that I showed in the videos to carve this piece. So I suggest if you have a problem finding wood, free wood's the best wood to carve when you're especially learning, okay? There's no doubt about that. Don't find rotten wood. Find a softwood, okay? So there's hardwood and there's softwood, and this is for the very beginners. You know, you could, like, cedar is a very good wood to carve. That's my favorite wood to carve. Cedar, cottonwood bark. It's black cottonwood trees that I carve the bark from. Cedar, cottonwood bark. Basswood's highly one of the best woods to carve, they say out there. I guess in the UK it would be called lime or lime-e wood, same kind of tree. Just a good softwood. Birchwood's a good wood to carve. But I suggest for when you're doing the Dremel carvings and the Foredom carvings, you got those Kutzall or saber-tooth burs, carve dry wood. Because if you carve wet wood, it's going to get fuzzy, it's going to be a pain in the butt, it's going to plug up your burs because it's wet, right? So I really suggest, for chainsaw carving, it's a different story. You can carve wet wood. But for the Dremel carvings, Foredoms, I suggest to find some dry wood. So I'm going to go out on the beach here. It's raining. See how long I can last, and we'll try and find a proper piece of wood. I do have my chainsaw so I can cut it up. Okay, I'm not using a microphone. I don't know how this video is going to sound. It's a little bit windy here, but I'll try and muff it with my hand. So this is driftwood. You guys can go to your forest. You can go anywhere you want. Go to a lake, go to a creek that you know that there's a little bit of wood that washes up, all right? So look, for example, right here. This is a piece of cottonwood. It's a little small for me to carve, but I would take this home and carve it just beginning. This piece right here, I can tell this is a nice piece of cedar because how rounded it is from the ocean, round the edges are from the rolling around in the ocean. See that? And you feel how heavy it is too, right? So this is a little bit heavy, so I know it's wet, so I don't want to take that home and carve it. Let's carry on. I myself personally, we all go through different stages. I want to find a piece of lighter colored wood, like this right here. So this is soaking wet. It's super heavy. So it's too heavy, it's soaking wet. This piece right here, good chance it's part of a root. Yeah, so this is Douglas fir or alder. You know, when you've got the wood that's like really twisty and has a bunch of twists and nice grain and stuff in there, that's usually a piece of root. Let me try and find one. And the root wood is super hard to carve, okay? So this piece right here, some people like to carve these, like my buddy Glenn. This would be a branch coming off the tree, right? So you carve the face here and the hair going up here. So pretend the tree would be right here, and this whole branch, well, let's see, it would be like this. The whole tree is this way, and then the branch comes off it. So that's what that is. Some people call them pine knots, but this is a cedar one. A really good way to recognize wood is by the bark. Okay, so this bark on here, I'm pretty sure it's Douglas fir. I know I have lots of Douglas fir trees in the neighborhood in my area, so good chance that's a Douglas fir. Like I said, if you don't know different types of woods and you're just getting into it, you see a piece, take a piece of the bark home, or stop and look online at the bark, and there's some apps that you can take reference pictures, and it will show you the type of tree that bark comes from. So that's another good tip too. That's a seagull. This is a pretty big piece, but it's super cool. This has been floating in the ocean for years. Who knows, maybe it was in a fire or something, but you can see the size of it. I'm pretty sure it's cedar. It's not that heavy. Yeah, I might have to take this. So what I do is I'll put a marker up, like this stick for example. I'll put this stick up here. Okay, hold on. Sorry. So when I'm walking back, I see that stick and I remember that piece of wood is there, right? That to that. Anyways, let's find a suitable piece to take home and carve. Look at this piece. This piece is pretty neat. It's just like the skin of a tree, like the outside first layers of the tree. But that's not what we're looking for today. You see this here, right here, is a pretty neat piece. I don't know what type of wood it is. I look at the grain inside here. I know it's got some wide grain. So you see, this piece, there's some spalting in there. See the colors, the black color? That's spalting. It's a certain type of fungus. Some people might be like, oh, I found a burl on the beach. I found a burl. Well, this isn't a burl. What this is this might be a little bit of a burl, but this is a root ball burl, right? So the bottom of the tree goes into the ground and all the roots would come off this one piece. This is where it all connects. But I probably will take this. One of my subscribers, good friend, likes this stuff, Larry, or I might carve it, so I'll probably take it. I'll leave it here. I'll put a marker. This is what I love to grab for chainsaw carving. This is a root head, so I flip it upside down. I make the roots the top part, and I carve the wood spirits here and make them the hair. But I want to show you guys this. Okay, so I look at the bark and I see it's stringy like this. I know that's cedar. The more that you guys get out and search your area, the more that you're going to recognize different types of wood that you have in your local area. And I've got to also remember, this is the Pacific Ocean, so it connects with like Japan and China and all that stuff. So wood could be floating in the ocean for years and finally wash up somewhere along this beach. So okay, so I've walked down a bit more. So say for example, I see this piece right here. I'm like, oh, that's a nice old piece of western red cedar. So what I do is I grab it. Okay, I'll set it up and I'll be like, oh, it's got some cracks. It's got some cracks on it. I don't know. Let's flip it over, check out the other side. Well, the other side's a lot better. There's no cracks in it. So let's do this. Let's stand it up and look at this. So you can see the cracks right here. Don't carry too far up into the wood. So maybe I'll take this piece back, and this might be a piece I cut with my chainsaw to see the inside of the wood, to see if those cracks, how far really deep they do go. And you got to remember, when you're getting beech wood with a sandy beach, lots of sand hides in these cracks, right? So it dulls your tools. And you got to remember, when you're on a beach like this where people can drive right up and they have their dogs running around and stuff here, this, I call this wood here dog pee wood. It's not dog pea quite yet because there's not too many people coming down here. It's been too cold and there's been lots of snow. So this is undog pea wood right now. So if you do get dog pea wood, just take it out home, put it in a bucket with a little tiny bit of bleach and some water, let it sit overnight, let it dry out, and I think you'll be good to go. No carving dog pea wood. Oh, I got my little electric chainsaw there, still 140. I really suggest this saw. It's a great saw, battery powered. So another thing good to take on when you go beachcombing is a little axe. This one's a little bit big. I got a smaller one. So sometimes, like, I don't know what kind of wood this log is here. You can just get your axe, chip it out, and see what kind of wood's on the inside. Copy? Copy. You see this stick here right by the axe? It's got bark on it, so this bark peels off. So I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it's a good way to recognize different type of wood. And also trees, like you'll get leaves. Look at the leaves or the pine needles and stuff like that. Pine's also a very good type of wood to carve for the beginners. It's a fairly soft wood. So I'm going to cut up that stick with my saw. I'm not going to put it on the tripod. This, where is it? This cedar stick here. I'm going to cut it right here. Sorry. I'm going to cut it right here, and we'll see how far those cracks go inside the carving. Sorry, not the carving, the piece of wood. Okay, so that took me like 2 seconds. So, you look at the end grain. Okay, you see this way this wood goes like this? This is the kind of grain. Sorry, I'm going to put this in between my legs and hold it. This is the kind of grain. See how it goes like this? So that means the center of the tree would be right about here, and it would just go like this. So this would be face grain that you're carving, because you're carving into the grain. That's my favorite grain to carve, okay? You can see the cracks. They don't go too far into the carving. You can see the sand inside there. Deadly for chainsaw carving. Makes your chain super dull, super fast. So then I'd look at this piece. Well, I don't want to carve this side where my thumb's tapping, but I could very well carve this side. Because this is the perfect, pretend you're looking at the top of your piece that you want to carve. This angle right here, see where my thumb's tapping? It's like a triangle. That's the best to carve a wood spirit, right there, okay? I'm not going to take that piece, but I hope you guys learned something. Okay, so I got this burl in my car. I kind of chipped it away, and I see it's spalted. It's a bit heavy, but I don't think it's soaking wet. So this might be the piece I carved for the final thing, so I can use all the different tools on it. But let's get the axe and carry on down the beach, see if we can find a lighter colored wood. See that right there? See how light it is? That's what I'm kind of looking for. So look at the end of this log. It's hard to tell, but look at this side. There's a crack there. Nah, I think I have a better chance to find something better, but you guys can see. See, that's a big root mass. Man, when I left my house, it was just pouring rain out, but it's actually gotten nice. I'm super glad I decided to come down. Here's a nice piece of cedar. But so I'll look at this, and I'll look in here, and it's got all those cracks. There's a crack going right here. There's a crack going across here. There you go, see? There's a nice piece of cedar though, this one right here. Yeah, but you got a crack there. No, I'll pass. So also, if you're beachcombing or in a forest or by a creek or a lake or a river or something, oh, here's a piece of bark right here. See, it's got bug holes in it. Before, I'd take this home, carve it, but no thanks now. So anyways, I was saying, you got an old forest or a tree, an old forest or a river or whatever, you'll see lots of old, dead, gray looking wood that looks like it's just garbage, like this piece right here. Okay, see this? Looks like it's a garbage piece of wood. Let me take this to a bigger log. Actually, hold on. Well, I don't know why it's still green inside, but Never really seen that before. I'm pretty sure it's from the ocean color, from the ocean water. But yeah, I don't want to carve this. But my point of the story is, take your axe. You'll see an old weathered, looks like a rotting piece of wood. Take your axe, chop the surface layer of the wood off, and you might see some beautiful inside that ugly looking piece of wood. They say just like what, you know, I guess the beauty lies within. Yep. It is just loaded down here. So like the more you come down here, you learn. Like I know that's cedar. It's not that old, so it's wet, right? This wood there, look how orange it is. That's that, frick, what's the name of it? I'll think of it in a second. Alder. Alder goes really orange like that. So here's a good piece, for example. This piece looks super rough. I'm pretty sure this piece is rotten. Okay, let me get to a bigger log. Actually, once again, let's just do it right here. So this is what you would call punky wood. Punky, okay? Oops. So I can see it's like, look. See that? See this stuff? That means it's rotten. It's punky. Okay? I could go home. I could take my Foredom, clean up all this rotten wood on the outside. There might be some better wood on the inside, but it's just not worth it. So that's what you call punky wood right here. Don't carve punky wood. Okay. Okay, you see this piece of wood right here? See those little notches in the wood? It's from a mill or whatever, okay? Or a lumber yard. So those notches usually means it's pressure treated. Don't carve pressure treated wood. No. I don't know if I've already said it. So this is the fresh wash up down here. So I know this stuff is good chance wetter than this stuff. Usually the stuff farthest away from the water. So like for example, the water's there. The stuff farthest away from the water up here, where the tip, that will be the driest stuff, because well, it's light. The driest stuff is the lightest stuff, and the waves can push it farther back because it's lighter, right? Carry on, carry on. I just seen this beautiful piece of cedar in here, and then I looked over quickly. I was like, holy shit, it's raccoon shit or bird shit. But no, this is just a little piece of wood. It's just a little burl. It's pretty neat. Somebody put it up there for a reason. I think I'll take this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but you see. Put it in your pocket and carry on. It's just a little burl, root burl. But anyways, this piece of cedar. Let's see if I can... Anyways, it's a nice piece of cedar. But that's not what I'm looking for today. You see this piece? See those bug holes? Good chance those bug holes go all the way through. So I don't know, don't carve bug hole wood unless you want to. This is a pretty neat piece of wood. But you see that pink color in there? See that? That's from the ocean water. When I first came down here, I was like, holy shit, I just found some pink wood. I'm gonna take it home, and pink purple wood. I'm gonna take it home and carve it. It's very custom forward wood and very expensive. No, it's just from the ocean water, and a good chance this piece is a cottonwood tree. Or poplar. So the more you come down here, it's like cedar, alder, I don't know. Something, 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 something. See, this looks like a nice lighter piece here. Let's do this. So I can see how easy it cuts. It's punky as... Yeah. Yeah, it's just been floating around for too long. It's no good. Too punky. See, this is Douglas fir. This is first growth Douglas fir bark. See how big this is? But carving this stuff, because I've carved it before, when you carve it, it looks like a friggin' steak with like all these fat lines through it. But it's the itchiest wood I've ever carved in my life. It feels like I've carved fiberglass. What's this piece? I know this is cedar. You get neat stuff like this. Just have fun. You see wood like this, with these holes here like this bigger one down by the root, good chance this good chance this tree got infected with something in its younger days, or also quite possibly got struck by lightning, because this is how a tree heals. See that? The inside, then the healing starts coming around there. Anyways, okay, this is a neat piece. Looks pretty light. Here's me standing on that other side of the tree. See that? Like that. So anyways, let's take the axe into this. Oh, that's nice. That's super nice. I'm taking this one. I'm cutting this up. Yeah. Okay, remember I said how nice it was, but you flip it around and you look at all this junk. It was nice. That's what you call punky wood right there. But I could cut it here. I could cut it here with my chainsaw. Take all this punky wood off on the back. I'm going to still cut it up just to show you guys. Actually, I'm not going to cut it up. It's just not worth it. And once again, just don't carve punky wood. So I see somebody who was down here with a chainsaw and an axe. Look at this first growth cedar right here. Beautiful stuff. This is my favorite wood to carve for chainsaw carving. Look at this piece. It's not too wet. It's tight grain, super tight grain. This piece right here would be the best to do a wood spirit on, because you got the corner edge. So you know, you pretend where my thumb's tapping, you'd carve the wood spirit on that side. Anyways, super nice cedar. Don't forget your axe. So really what I'm looking for is a piece of birch wood. Look at this one. That's pretty funky. I'll put that up there. Somebody might like that piece. Take it. You see? Here's bark. I don't know if this is birch or not, but birch has that, silver birch has that silver looking bark. Look at this. Somebody forgot their tow rope here. I'd grab it, but here's a shoe or a sandal. I'd grab it, but I can get this stuff anytime from all my friends are fishermen. So it looks to me here somebody was rip cutting with a chainsaw, which is kind of odd for down here, because mostly they just take it for firewood. But so what you do is grab this wood, smell it. I don't know what it is, some kind of, but somebody that I know also tastes it to see what type of wood it is. But there's a true rip cut from the chainsaw marks, right? So carry on. So how can I explain this too? So when you carve wet wood, like a freshly cut tree, you don't know where it's going to crack when you carve it, okay? Because it's going to crack. If you have the core, which is the center of the wood, and you just carve a branch, having that core in there makes the wood crack, long story short. So if you got a branch, cut it in half and get rid of the core of the wood, the very center, and a less chance it will crack, okay? So here's some more of that cedar all the way down here that they cut up. Why I like to carve dry wood: it does not plug up your Dremel burs as bad as wet wood does. Okay, so it doesn't plug up your burs, and you can see if it's semi-dry, if it's dry, but a little bit wet, you can see where the cracks are. You can see where it's going to crack. So you can base your carving about where you already see the cracks are. Look on the end grain, okay? Look right here. Look on the end grain. You'll see cracks up here. If you see a little crack right there, you know that crack's going to travel all the way down your carving once it dries up, right? Does that make sense to you? For Dremel carving, I really suggest no more fine dry wood to carve. See, this is a dark, ugly piece of wood. I know I don't want it. It's got bug holes in it, but let's see what's underneath. See? It's still nice looking wood inside. Underneath this ugly dark stuff. That's kind of the wood color that I'm looking for, but it just got too many bug holes in it. You see? This is a neat twisty branch. Don't eat it. Okay, I found a culprit. Now this could be birch, but it could be a fruit wood too. But you see the cracks in there? I am going to put this on a log and I'm going to hit it with the axe and see what happens. It's a little bit, I'm not a professional on birch bark, but I do have a nice piece of bark, birch wood that my buddy Pete gave me, drying out. Okay, so yeah, very good chance it's birch. See all the spalting in there? It's just punky and rotten. Let me see if I can grab this little piece here. It's just punky and rotten. See that? I wouldn't try and carve that stuff. But for the very beginner, if you want to learn how to do shaping and stuff like that and how your burrs work, you can carve it. It's just not going to hold any detail. And good chance are that lots of it's going to break off. But you can do it. That's a nice piece right here. I'll show you that one in a second. Something like this is cool. You know, you can carve a negative space on here. It's a piece, it's like, I call it the skin of the tree. So you see there'd be a branch coming off there. You can carve a real shallow carving on there. I don't know if you want to carve a dog or a pig on there. You can carve an airplane on there if you wanted to. So here's a nice example of an old weathered piece of wood that's been rolling around in the ocean for years. It's got, it's all rounded, so you know a good chance this is a softer type of wood. What's this here? That's kind of neat. But you know what's it's rounded, it's been floating around forever, but let's buck into this. So it's a fairly soft wood. You can see this axe is dull. I think this is probably cottonwood, but you know, you can see the nice color on the inside compared to the outside. Once again, the beauty friggin' something skin deep. It's hard not to swear on my videos, but I'm trying. See this one here? Super dark red cedar. So if you're gonna do a carving like this with on the very dark, actually, look, they've been cutting it up here too. If you're gonna want to carve dark wood like this, you know, if you put an oil stain on it, it's gonna go super dark. That's a neat piece of root right here. It's too big what I'm looking for, but still a neat piece. Anyways, carry on. That's what this video is not about. Okay, so I've parked way down there past that car, so I gotta walk back. It's starting to get dark out. I'm basically near the end of the line. I pretty well think I'm gonna carve that. I'm gonna put it by a heater, let it dry out a bit. That piece of root burl. That's gonna be my final piece for the Dremel maker, for the Dremel Foredom series carving I'm doing, and I'll show you guys all the tools that I've showed throughout the videos. This video, I still have to make my burr video about the burrs that I use and suggest. Dust masks. And another one, but I forget. Oh, and finishes, like paints and finishes and poly shades and stuff I use. But this video is going to be coming out first. I'll upload this tonight, so it'll be out tomorrow morning for you, so I can let that wood dry out, and that will be my final video showing that stuff. That's a pretty neat piece there too. It's shaped kind of like a moon. Yep, this is a pretty neat root piece, but it's a little bit big for what I'm looking for. But I cut it up so I can see that the orange in the wood there, so that's Douglas fir. I don't like carving Douglas fir. I don't mind it with chainsaw, but not with Dremel. Nope. I'm pretty sure this is a nice little piece of birch. But then again, I don't know. I just see the white bark there and think it is, but probably not. Okay, so I've come to the end of the line here. And I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back with the fresh wash up, see if I missed any little treasures. Yep, carry on. Okay, so here's another piece of wood with a different type of bark on it. I'll lift it up, feel inside of it, look down here. I see it's spalted. See those black lines running through it? Another thing too, there's a full thing of Windex. Another thing too, I don't suggest carving into the end grain. That's going to be something that you're going to have to look up. End grain, so that would be like carving a face into the end of a stick, so carving it into this way. But yeah, I don't know, but that's a nice piece. Where's my axe? Let's see here. Oh, that might even be birch. Man, it's a long way. It's not that light. I'm not too sure if birch bark gets thick like that once it gets older. Maybe I'll carry it back. You know, when you guys are beachcombing, you can find things like this with cool old like rusty bolts and screws in there, just for decor for your house or yard or whatever. So yeah, I've decided to take that piece of burl wood home, not burl wood but root burl home, and I'll do that for the final video. So it just goes to show you, if you got like areas, forest areas, lakes or creeks, and you're stuck inside the house, you want to just get out of the house. I've been stuck inside the house for 4 days. It's been miserable here. I've been doing painting. I'm not showing you guys, so trust me, but I've been doing some watercolor painting. So I've basically been staying up all night and sleeping throughout some of the morning. So I said to myself, I just got to get out of the house and go beachcombing. Got to make this video for everybody. And it's for myself too, like it's just getting out and enjoying yourself. So wood carving for me is not just about wood carving. It's about getting out, having fun, and looking for some wicked cool free wood to carve. You know, when you start wood carving, if you get free wood, you have the chance to make more money on your carvings when you sell them, if you do sell them, because that means you don't have to pay for the wood. So there's no cost on the wood. The wood's free. So if you want to sell your carving for 10 bucks, sell it for 10 bucks. Who cares? Carve them, chip them out, keep it going. The more you do, the better you're going to get. Holy, look at this thick piece of really wide piece of cottonwood bark that washed up. Look how wide that is. It's not that thick. It's got some bug holes in it. But that's the widest piece I've ever seen. It's like, hold on. That's like 6 inches wide. Imagine if the rest of the bark, it would probably be like 8 inches thick. Even though it's got a few bug holes in it, I'm going to take it. I carve a friggin' airplane on it or whatever I wanted to do. I'm taking it. I left that other piece. I noticed birch. I noticed there's bug holes in the other side. So I know this video will be a little bit long for all you that are still here. So the type of wood I suggest for the beginning wood carvers, I know I repeat myself, don't care. First of all, free wood is the best wood to carve. You can't argue that. Second of all, a softwood, cedar wood, pine wood, basswood. There's different types of softwood, cottonwood bark. There's different types of softwood all around the world here. I'm just referring to what we have around here. But I know pine trees are pretty popular all around the world. And lots of areas do have cedar trees too. Different types of cedar. I've carved some pretty tough juniper cedar or eastern red cedar, but just try and find yourself some free wood. That's all. So for all the people that watch my chainsaw carving videos, you saw me come down to this beach a couple times and get the root heads. Well, I'm glad I did, because I've walked way down there, and this is the only bigger one I've seen left on the beach. Yep. So good thing I came and got them when I did. Wood hoarder, number one right here. Number two. So it's getting super dark. It's getting super dark. Here's that piece of bark. Here's that that stump thing. So I'm going to cut this bottom flat so it will be like sitting on a desk or something. So I just want to show you guys, even this right here, this dowel. I just seen this round dowel here. Okay, perfectly round dowel. Is that a crack in there? Yeah, it is, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to take this home, let it dry off. So next winter, it's got a nail in there. But next winter when I want to carve gnomes, it's perfect. Actually, forget it. Carving fusion! Fusion! Over and out! I forgot to mention in the video, people ask me what's the best way to dry wood. So I got a baseboard heater here. I just got these pieces of wood by the heater. But the best thing you could possibly do is leave it outdoor, let it dry naturally in the shade. That's how you prevent cracks. This is the piece of birch wood my friend Pete gave me. He turned it on his lathe, so I just got it here. It's got a few cracks in there, no big deal. But in this piece, there's no center wood, right? This is just marks just from his lathe. The center of the wood would be over here, so good chance this piece is not gonna crack when I carve it. You'll see here, I did grab some of that old first growth western red cedar. I grabbed this piece too, because like I can carve little wood spirits or gnomes or something with that where my thumb's tapping. That's a good place for the nose. Anyways, what are you doing, Lee? Here's your treats. Go get them. But this is another way you can dry wood. Yeah, I got that big root mass in the oven. Look, it looks like a turkey. So if it cracks, it cracks. If it doesn't, carry on. Just turn it down really low, put it in there for 5 hours. Over and out.